6:45, your Sunrise Smart Start. We are following that breaking story from overnight. At least 3 people killed, 5 others seriously injured in shootings at the main campus of Michigan State University. The gunman died by suicide later, miles away, after an hours-long manhunt that forced students to hide in the dark. Police announced the man's death early this morning, 4 hours after the shootings at Berkeley Hall, an academic building, and later nearby at the Student Union. Here in Rochester, this is what we know this morning about the student from Monroe High, taken into custody yesterday after police say he was caught with a loaded gun on campus. Police say the 17-year-old had a 9mm handgun with 12 rounds loaded inside. The motive for this is still unknown. At the school, we do know students have to pass through metal detectors where security can monitor and search bags. The school guards detected the gun at one of the entry points and then notified police. New this morning, a man is in the hospital after a stabbing in Rochester. That happened on Columbia Avenue just after 10. The victim in his 40s was stabbed multiple times. Police used a tourniquet to keep him alive. His injuries are considered serious at this point, but not life-threatening. There are no suspects in custody. Governor Kathy Hochul is making the rounds across the state, highlighting some of the regional investments that she wants to make as part of her budget proposal for 2024. The $227 billion spending plan of your money includes $10 million for the future expansion of the Susan B. Anthony House and Museum, along with a focus on smaller communities. That includes $10 million for Perry as part of a downtown revamp initiative. Also $4.5 million for the villages of Medina and Geneseo. Democratic state lawmakers from our region are hearing more from community advocates and families about services they believe could be improved or added to the new budget. Union leaders, school reps, and those advocating on behalf of the area's 50-plus population took part in a public forum on Zoom. They talked about a range of social services issues, from food insecurity to mental health.
I am here to just highlight what was specifically missing from the governor's budget, specifically significant funding and support to address mental health inequities, particularly in high poverty census tracts of Black and brown families.
The need to bump up Medicaid reimbursement rates and to improve wage parity among not-profit schools that take care of students with special needs and their public counterparts was also mentioned at the meeting.
These stories, these realities of the everyday that you and the people you serve are living are what need to drive how we are changing these systems in Albany. Because what is incredibly clear to all of us is that we are not serving everyone in the Rochester area and in New York State equitably.
The deadline for state lawmakers to have the new state budget done is coming up April 1st. Right now, hundreds of parents, providers, and advocates all over the state, including some from Rochester, are headed off to a rally in Albany. This new footage just in from here locally. They're asking for more money in the state budget to be put aside for universal child care. It's something many of them call a crisis, with parents struggling to access affordable quality care.
Right now, childcare is desperately needed, but because it has been underfunded and because the pay for childcare workers is so low, there aren't enough providers available for families who need childcare to get to work and get to school and need a high-quality experience for their child so they can enter school ready to learn.
This rally comes a week after advocates and lawmakers at the Capitol again pushed the Children and Families Reinvestment Act, asking for another $5 billion from the state budget to create universal child care systems around the state. At Fairport, the village is planning a redesign for Liftbridge Lane East in order to ease traffic and make it safer for bikers. As part of the project, several parking spots, though, have to be moved to make room for new bike lanes, 2 of those, and crosswalks for pedestrians. The mayor recognizes some do not like the redesign and more work in the area. Chris Casa, among them, owner of Box Factory, says this will create a backup of parking in private lots, and that could hurt business.
We do have quite a few bikers, especially in the summertime, but there's way more cars with a lot of people inside those cars that won't be able to get to some of the businesses.
Not everybody has a car. So some people bike, some people walk, some people have cars. And in that same vein, I am committed to making Fairport the most walkable community in New York State. This ties in very closely with that.
The board approved the project back in September. As far as the mayor's concerned, it is happening. A state grant will help cover some of the costs. Terrible update from our zoo, where staff announced yesterday Parker, a 6-year-old giraffe at Seneca Park Zoo, died over the weekend in what's called an unprecedented tragedy. The giraffe got stuck in its gate Sunday and broke its neck. Parker was instrumental in the breeding program across accredited zoos. It was part of his favorable genetic traits that led to this accident, causing the tragedy, that being that he's taller than other giraffes. If you want to get your hands on a free steering wheel lock and missed out on the last ones that they gave out, the Sheriff's Office is offering up another chance. Deputies have received another limited supply of locks for owners of Kias and Hyundais, the cars that keep getting stolen. Hundreds of them have been stolen in our community just this year. You can call MCSO for an appointment for weekdays between 8 to 4 to get one of those locks. They will be gone in a hurry, though. 6:51, let's pause for a moment, get updates on your weather now with James Gilbert. 28. We're about the morning walk. We're going to be right at the freezing mark.
Yeah, climbing up a couple of degrees this morning, and then once that sun comes up at 7:10, we are going to be cruising into the 40s and near 50 by this afternoon. No real chance for rain on this Valentine's Day. Mostly sunny skies. Just a gorgeous one for you on this Tuesday. We've got even warmer weather. Yes, it is February, but it certainly does not feel like it. We'll look at tomorrow, which could have record warmth. We'll do a bus stop forecast as well as take a look at the 8-day that includes the weekend at the end of the show. Brennan.
See you in a couple of minutes. Thank you, James. Sunrise traffic at 6:52. No new reports of any accidents coming in as things starting to pick up. Everyone getting off and going this Tuesday morning. Students and staff at the East Irondequoit Central School District delivered messages of positivity yesterday ahead of Valentine's Day. Kids from 4 elementary schools put together special notes. Those letters were then delivered to people on Spencer Road. That same neighborhood, our team went out where anti-Semitic flyers were distributed a few weeks ago. We were trying to figure out who's responsible. Among the schools involved, around 1,000 cards were created and then sent out to neighbors to give them some love. With sweets, flowers, and hearts galore, these ladies say the holiday isn't just for romance. The residents at the Watermark Legacy celebrated friendship with a festive luncheon yesterday that featured more than 1,000 carnations, all purchased by fellow residents, staff, and family. The goal to spread love today, especially those struggling this time of year. St. John Fisher University kicked off the week with its annual Very Berry Brunch yesterday. That event marks the final countdown to the 41st edition of the Teddy Dance for Love, one of the most special traditions at the university. It's a 24-hour annual dance-a-thon raising money for Camp Good Days and Special Times. That great group of people helping children and their families struggling with cancer and other health challenges. This stems from the story of what happened to Elizabeth Teddy Mervis, a 12-year-old girl who battled brain cancer. You may have heard of something called text neck or tech neck. That is something doctors are seeing more and more of as we keep staring down at our phones and tablets all day, at least for a couple of hours every day. Doctors say these actions can cause neck pain, shoulder pains, mid-back discomfort, and if it do it too long, eventually postural shifts. There are also cosmetic consequences like long lines or wrinkles along your neck.
I think people more and more are going to recognize that bringing your head down to your device, the head's a lot heavier than your device is. So bringing the device up to your head is going to make life quite a bit easier. Anything you could do to facilitate not having your head and the weight of your head down for prolonged periods of time.
Stretching even on the job is very critical. Doctors say raising your computer screen and standing at work can also help you get some benefits. Damar Hamlin capped off a busy weekend at the Super Bowl with an interview that aired on Good Morning America. In that, he says he owes his life to Bills assistant athletic trainer Denny Kellington. He also says he's only watched the hit from Cincinnati where he collapsed after a couple of times, saying it just gives him an awkward, crazy feeling. You can't even imagine that. He added in the interview he does want to get back to football. Called it a tough situation, and he's still working through it. We wish him all the best on that recovery.
The beat rolls on. A bus stop forecast looking great today. Valentine's Day, always fun at school, right? Sunny skies to start. Breezy, warm this afternoon. There it is. We're going low 50s for today. Tomorrow, that's the day we could potentially see a record. 61 is the record back in 1949. Warmth, wind, and rain on Thursday. Then Friday, a little bit of a cold front to bring some rain and snow there. And the weekend, as of right now, looks pretty good. Both Saturday and Sunday should be dry with a lot of sunshine in there as well. So take care of your friends, family, loved ones on this Valentine's Day.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. We'll see you back here in 30 minutes. Thanks for watching News 8 at Sunrise. CBS Mornings coming up next.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.